Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 Division I National Championship for high school 8-man football. On behalf of the NHFA and 8-man Extreme, we thank you for attending at Mike Gavlak Stadium at Arnold High School in Panama City Beach, Florida, and tuning in on YouTube to join us in celebrating an incredible season of athletic excellence. Let's meet the two teams participating in tonight's final contest of 2025. They entered into Florida with an 8-3 record and won in Thursday's semifinal 42-34 in overtime against the South Haven Christian School Patriots to get here. From Alabaster, Alabama, give it up for tonight's away team and the Alabama Christian Sports Conference champions, the Evangel Christian School Lightning. They entered into Florida with a 10-3 overall record and won in Thursday's semifinal 28-20 against the Tri-State Kings Crusaders to get here. From Huntsville, Alabama, give it up for tonight's home team, Southeastern Extreme Conference champions and last year's national championship runner-up team, the Freedom Cowboys. As mentioned, tonight's home team is the Freedom Cowboys, wearing white. The Evangel Lightning, the designated away team, wearing navy. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your caps for a word of prayer from NHFA Tournament Director, Mike St. Dennis.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you to give thanks for the many blessings we have received. We thank you for the men and women who give their time and energy to create these opportunities, for the young and men and women who participate. We thank you for everyone who has come to the tournament this week and who has made this season for their teams and their communities such a great success. We thank you for the lessons that have been learned, the tears that have been cried, the wounds that have been healed, and the laughter enjoyed. And we ask your blessing over the events of this evening and the rest of our time here together, that you would give us safety and health. Watch over these players, coaches, cheerleaders, referees, and fans. And in everything that we say and do, may we bring honor and glory to your name. For it's in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord we pray. Amen.
We ask those who are willing and able to continue to rise to honor the United States and those who support our freedoms at home and abroad with the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the center of the field the captains for the Evangel Lightning and the Freedom Cowboys. Tonight's referee, Nate Starr, will give us the coin toss.
Guys, congratulations for making it this far. Evangel, your vis team call you blue. Cowboys, your home team call you white. Got a coin here. That is the truck, and that's the state of Florida. Truck or state of Florida? Truck. State of Florida it is. You won the toss. Freedom has deferred to their options. Which way you want to do? Y'all line up over there. Y'all flip it. Evangel will get the ball.
Oh, you dream of moments like this from the beginning of the season. Such a tremendous opportunity for all of the players involved. A chance to bring home a national championship for your program, for your school, and memories to last a lifetime. All the teams in Panama City Beach, Florida on Wednesday night, semifinals on Thursday, and it all wraps up with the Division I National Championship, a familiar match between these two foes, the Freedom Cowboys and the Evangel Lightning, who are squaring off in the national championship game for the third time. Welcome to everyone watching around the world. I'm Spencer Thompson alongside Coach Hunter Wilson. Proud to be with each and every one of you in Panama City Beach, Florida. Hunter, such a long season, you know exactly what this environment is like, and being in a national championship and participating in it, nothing like it when the first kickoff occurs.
Yeah, all the nerves from a full season, from the very first kick lead to this. You've got two teams. I would consider this a rivalry game, and you've got this very familiar. It's going to come down to execution and really just who wants it the worst.
Both these teams want it more than anybody, especially the Freedom Cowboys. We'll get into that later on, as we will have a return. We are underway with the Evangel Lightning returning. It's Cruz Romano who will go to about the left side as he's pulled down almost by the neck. Not quite enough for a horse collar, says the officials. And 11-second shave off for this first offensive drive of the game. The Lightning will take it over. Well, a bombshell that we were given prior to this game. Eli Black is playing through a stomach bug for the Evangel Lightning. And really, he has been the centerpiece for this Lightning team. The junior, the leader on the rushing side, also one of only 3 players who's been the quarterback position for the Lightning, the only one over 21 passes. So Eli Black playing through and knowing what's at stake here in the national championship, trying to win it for his team. And they've got 3 receivers out on the right side as it'll be kept by himself. Eli Black, no stomach bug problems for him at the moment as he already breaks away for a big rush just past midfield. The star junior had over 1,100 rushing yards on the season, and he gets a big chunk gain there.
Yeah, you're going to see a big, steady dose of Eli Black. Sick or not, he is the one. He is the one that drives this. He's the engine, so I don't see them going away from him. This is the last game. They're going to put everything on the table. I expect a lot of Eli Black on the ground.
Yeah, 113 carries, and back at the start of the season, he was incredible in their matchup against Rendell Parrott. as they opened up the season even with Evangel losing, and they used that as motivation. Here goes Isaac Griffith, another good carry man for this Evangel team at 339 rushing yards out of 84 carries, gets a chunk gain of 5.
That's a guy they're excited to get back. Griffith got injured midway through the season. He's been working his way back. I expect to see him pick up a heavy load tonight and try to take some of the pressure off Eli Black. Also, watch number 3. Watch Ben Davis out wide. I think if Evangel's going to have any success, it's going to be out wide in this pass game. I think that's where they have the edge in this game.
They give a gain there for about 6 yards on the carry from Isaac Griffith. The sophomore getting up there on the stat line for Evangel as they send Davis in motion on cue, and Isaac Griffith with another carry. He gets stuffed maybe for a gain of a yard, and it brings up 3rd down.
Spencer, you see that attacking defense from Freedom. They're going to come downhill. They're going to come hard. They're going to come fast. It's going to be up to Evangel to create some time, create some space, because defense is going to, or the Freedom is going to play that attacking defense all night long. You've got number 18 leading that charge. I'm sorry, it may be number 4 right there at middle linebacker. Anyway, they're going to come downhill at you quickly and make you make decisions fast.
Yeah, either between Julian Harden or Elijah Brown for the Freedom Cowboys, their defense has also been fairly solid on the year, as this is a direct keeper for Eli Black. He'll push forward for a 1st down. Almost seems automatic, since anytime he's rushed the ball this year, he gets 9.8.
Yeah, and specifically out of that formation where there's an empty backfield, 2 tight ends. Evangel loves that formation. You watched it Thursday night against South Haven. You watched it in the ACSC championship against East Central. If they go into that 2 tight, bring a receiver in motion, usually that's going to be that counter. Eli does such a good job. But let me tell you, I don't know that they've seen a defense like Freedom since they've played Freedom. The athletes Freedom has, the discipline they have to come downhill, it's going to be interesting to watch.
35-yard line is where this new set of downs will start off as this gets wrapped up. There's 4. You were talking about Julian Harden at 31 tackles on the year, 25 on his own, and he forces only a gain of 1 for this Evangel defense. Or I beg your pardon, this Evangel offense.
Yeah, they're going to have to get a hat on him, Spence, maybe 2, because he's coming downhill. He's going to command a blocker all night long. And if not, he's not one you're just going to bounce off of. We've seen a lot of offensive players just bouncing off guys all weekend. It's not going to be the case with Harden.
Now, I will note on the Freedom Cowboys stats, these are through their semifinal playoff game, and not updated for the SEEK Championship and their semi yesterday, because the team has better things to focus on. Sometimes teams are good at updating on max preps. Even the Lightning didn't update from their Thursday competition. As we got a 2nd and 9. Black, he's going to air it out left side for the toss. Couldn't get it in the bucket. Had a good opportunity for his connection to David Johnson, who has not caught a pass on the year, but trusting the junior connection, couldn't quite catch it there.
No, I think that was number 3, Ben Davis out wide. Yeah, he went with a double move early there. That showed a lot of confidence in the offensive line. Listen, I know it worked that time, Spence. With this Freedom defensive line, I would be very careful on those double moves. I think you're going to have to get the ball out very, very quickly. This defense is coming.
Yeah, and that's why I was confused there. Ben Davis, the lead team rusher there, so you're wondering why David Johnson was out in the flat, but regardless, it's also a tough move when you have some of these members here on the Freedom defense. We'll get into that in a minute. Here's another carry, a wrap-up and tackle. No chance for Isaac Griffith to get there. And one player we do want to mention here that wasn't involved on that play but was on the defense on the other side, Eli Carr for the Freedom Cowboys. Even in the SEEK Championship game last week, he wasn't 100%. He's had to get his ankle taped up. He's been fighting through those respective circumstances and still able to get involved on the defensive side here, the star senior cornerback in his final game as a Freedom Cowboy.
Yeah, and I think his job's as important as anyone's tonight. He's going to draw one of those dangerous wide receivers for Evangel. So tough job, but he's fighting through it.
And this Lightning team is going to go for it on a 4th and 10.
Another deep toss right side, incomplete. No flags there. Pass intended for Ben Davis.
Looked like a little miscommunication there. They're begging for a pass interference there. I think that was a great call. No call by the ref. Looked like miscommunication between Ben Davis and Eli Black there.
We're going to see for the first time on offense here in this national championship game a young man who no one really thought we would see him again. His high school football career, a lot of people told him with his Achilles tear for track and field back in the spring, that, I beg your pardon, his ankle injury, that he would be done. A lot of people told him that he couldn't make it, but he had this constant determination. He told his coach and everyone around him, I'm going to play again. Had surgery earlier in August and is back here in the national championship, and he's going to keep it himself. He'll toss it on the left side. It's intercepted off of the hands of Mark Cohn, and it's to Ben Davis with his first interception of the season.
What a play, what a play. Venter gets out in space, has a man open, and just gets deflected, and big takeaway there for Ben Davis.
You know, a guy who normally he's only got 27 tackles on the year, hasn't done too much on the extra side in the defensive categories, and now he's got his first interception right after the Cowboys were forced to turn it over on downs.
Yeah, Ben generally is in that back end. It's a corner that plays over the top at safety, but so.
Let's see how Evangel responds getting the ball on the 47-yard line. And trying to scramble through that defensive line, trying to make up for things. Harden and company got the tackle.
Harden just came to play tonight, Spencer. It is. They've got to figure something out. Evangel tried to use Freedom's aggression against him there, and Freedom just stayed disciplined, kept everybody. Great pursuit by Harden and the rest of the defensive line. But if you look, Evangel was trying to go to a throwback tight end screen. Outside backer did a great job of staying with him and taking that screen away. Eli had nothing to do but take the sack. Great job by Freedom.
Loss of about 3 to 4 yards on the play. Here's another toss slung across the middle, and it's Ben Davis making up for the incompletion earlier. Ben Davis past one man, has a block. Davis to the goal line.
Waiting on the call.
No signal yet.
It's going to be the 1 yard line, Spence.
They will stop him short. Waited for the line judge to come there, but a great move by Ben Davis.
What a play call by Tim Smith and the Evangel Lightning. They take a big sack, and most coaches would just put it in their pocket and say, man, I got to try to get back. Not Tim. Tim dials up a big pass play on a crosser there, gets, buys some time, hits this guy on the crosser. Ben does the rest.
And 9 seasons, Tim Smith, and the 97 wins that he's had throughout his incredible head coaching career with the Evangel Lightning. On the verge of scoring first yet again in a national title. Under center, Eli Black. He's got options. He'll hand it off again. Usually money from that short of distance is Isaac Griffith, and is going to be stopped maybe for a loss of a yard on a good goal line stand.
From the 1 yard line.
This is where Freedom can really just play downhill. This is where I feel like Evangel here on a play fake and trying to slip out one of those, either an H-back or tight end in the back end, try to disguise it as a run, and on a play action hit somebody across the back.
Tell you again, it's not often you see that sort of maneuvering from this Freedom Cowboys defense, especially in most of the matches they've had the last several years. 2nd and goal. And they'll trust Griffith again, try to get it to him. Did he get to the goal line? Yes, touchdown, Lightning strike first.
For a Lightning touchdown.
Great play call again. Instead of, getting discouraged that the first down play didn't work, he stays with it. Hey, I'm just going to flip it to the right side. I like my strength there. Give his big running back a chance, and puts it in the end zone.
Griffith on this year for the Lightning, 5 rushing touchdowns heading into Panama City, and adds that one to his total to bring him up to 6. Nowhere close to the rushing touchdown lead on the team, but at least has a good 1 yard rush there. 2-point conversion attempt for the Lightning. as it's a high snap bobbled and keeping it Eli Black. That'll be a stop there. And that there's one thing we know from seeing both of these respective organizations in the last several years, 2-point conversions, incredible.
Got a flag on the play at extracurricular there.
And a good stop by Michael Johnson as well, second-team offensive lineman from the Southeastern Extreme Conference.
Down on the play.
As he gets the stop there, we'll hear from Nate Starr for the first time tonight on the penalty side of things. Got to catch him for the coin toss earlier. His crew has been working the national championship tournament for many, many years. Only break in that 2018 when the game had to be rescheduled and held in Dayton, Tennessee. Here's Nate Starr.
Extra picks is no good. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on Evangel. The kickoff will be 15 yards back.
You know, Spencer, that's very uncharacteristic for either of these teams, really. One storyline to watch in this team, both of these head coaches, they set the example. They're just such great examples for these young men. They hold them accountable for everything. These are two of the premier teams in 8-man football, at least in the Southeast. I know they're from neighboring conferences. They play each other every year, but Coach Collins and Coach Smith, they really do things the right way. They're men of integrity, and they expect their players to play that way. So I'm sure that I would not want to be the player when I, get to the sideline and Coach Smith gets to him.
And you know that better than anybody, and being the head coach for the Ezekiel Academy Knights. And you also mentioned over the years the sort of mentorship you all have been able to exchange with one another between Coach Smith and Coach Collins, especially with the spirited rivalries you all have had the last several years.
Yeah, and a fun fact, they both beat me this year 38-0. It was like they did it, they called each other before our games and made sure, hey, we're going to do 38-0, okay? All right, sounds good.
Check that.
So for Evangel, Nick Sanders will boot it away here. The senior will boot it for a high-up squib kick, and no problem, Elijah Carr. Just mentioned Eli Carr on his defensive side could get it done on special teams as well, as it's a good field advantage for the Freedom Cowboys to start off with just outside the 45.
Yeah, early on you see a difference in philosophies for special teams. Evangel's not going to kick it deep and give those guys a chance to return it. Freedom, you saw Freedom had confidence in their kickoff team to fill their lanes, get downfield. Evangel started their first drive inside the 10-yard line. So right here you see Freedom kind of already in Evangel territory.
Second offensive drive for the Cowboys. Jalen Venter trying to avoid a tackle. He's got a big gain there. We'll bring it up for about 9-8 yards. This young man and Jalen Venter, including the SEEK championship game, only has played 4 games total on the year, and he already led the team heading into their conference championship in rushing yards. And it just shows you how crucial of a piece that the Freedom Cowboys were missing when he was recovering from his ankle injury. And the senior leading the offense again on a 2nd and 1. He'll hand it off. Another dangerous man for this respective Cowboys team, Elijah Brown, his first team linebacker in the Southeastern Extreme Conference, and he's got another cane there.
Yeah, just as I was saying, Evangel had to air it out to really be effective on the offense. I think, Spencer, we got an injury, number 18, after the run. That's a key piece there at running back.
And you hate to see that for Elijah Brown, but the good news for the Freedom Cowboys is that Sterling Hershey is coming into the game. He was one of the 3 dangerous weapons for the Cowboys against the Colts last week in White House. And it was one of those options where the defense had no clue what they could do to try and stop Venter, Hershey, and Brown. And as Hershey will go into motion. He gets the ball himself. It's a fake. It's Jalen Venter up the middle. Jalen Venter, the pinball move to get to the end zone. About a 35-yard rushing touchdown for Jalen Venter.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a steady dose of Jalen Venter on the ground. Evangel's missing 3 of their 4 linebackers, so they're kind of piecemealing that second level. And that's not a good place to be when Jalen Venter's carrying the football, because he is a man and he's going to run the football very, very hard.
Already led the team heading into last week at 10 total rushing touchdowns. Add to that total and had several of them last week. So very far lead for the young man.
Freedom lining up for the 2-point conversion.
As plays just his 6th game this season. two receivers on both sides for the two-pointer. They'll send Butler in motion, and Venter trying to get the octopus. No chance, as the big man in Caleb Woods will get the tackle there, had 9 of them on his own. As both teams exchange blows early on, 6-6 in this national championship for high school 8-man football. Both teams exchange early touchdowns. Evangel capitalizing on an interception, and the Freedom Cowboys capitalizing on an onside kick attempt where they only had to drive about 45 yards to get down for the first score, but neither team able to get into the end zone for the two-point conversion attempt. And Cowboys will boot it away. That's Landon Mildy with the squib kick. Picked up at about the 20-yard line here. Cruz Romano, the sophomore, gets a gain of about 5 yards on the return, and this Evangel Lightning offense will get back to work.
That was interesting. Right after I said that on the last special teams play, they go with the squib kick. I guess they want to be safe there. I mean, still great on the 30. You know, in 8-man football, a lot of times you're starting around midfield, so most coaches are really excited to start, you know, on defense on the 30-yard line.
One interesting fact for you about both of these teams, usually you have 40-plus on the roster for the Lightning, and for the other side, you've got around 30 or less in these national championships. Script is reversed, 28 total for Evangel, 53 for Freedom. As they'll hand it off, another chance to get a rush on the outside, and that's a great tackle on the defensive end by Sterling Hershey.
Brought down by number 20.
Got the stop there on the rush attempt by Trey Hope.
Yeah, great job there by stringing him out, and then as soon as he has to make the cut or run out of bounds, he attacks, stays on that hip, and gets a tackle for loss there on that jet sweep.
Brings up second down.
Yeah, this Evangel Lightning team has been blessed with star quarterbacks over the years through Tyler Henderson, Jet Lodge helping. He's listed as an athlete on their roster, and certainly Kemp Swords also on that respective list. Sawyer Welch, Eli Black tag teamed a little bit between that in the last couple of years, but they found Eli Black as he carries the ball and the defense is trying to find him. He's going to air it out on the left side. Good coverage in between. The great catch by Ben Davis. He gets it in coverage, and I believe there is some yellow laundry there, so you'll tack on the pass interference, but a great play by Ben Davis.
Looks like it's coming back, maybe a hold. Let's see what the call is here.
During the pass, ineligible receiver downfield, Lightning. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
On a long developing play like that, it just the linemen sometimes don't have that internal clock, or they do, and they feel like the ball's off and they can release, and you know, maybe he saw a linebacker, whatever the case, and just something that takes that long to develop, that's the risk you run.
I know as coaches, those are the type of things that get irritating, especially when the receiver downfield, you try to coordinate those things and set them up beforehand. And a great play by Ben Davis results in a 2nd and 15 from a 5-yard penalty. From the 25-yard line, Hope in motion. Black will keep it himself. He's got open space. Black with one man to beat, and Elijah Carr. If there's anyone that can catch him, it's him. But he's also got Blake Marcone to try and get through, and a huge gain to about the 25-yard line. That's Marconette with an incredible touchdown-saving tackle.
Yeah, that's something interesting to watch for Evangel. You see how they overload the wide side of the field, then ran back to the short side of the field. But what that did is take all the bodies. They had a numbers advantage with that tight end over there. And you know, get all the attention on Trey in motion, run it that way. I expect to see that linebacker field. The linebacker beat his guy there. He was just a step late, so I don't expect that to continue. They'll make that adjustment there and be able to keep that at bay.
So Eli Carr forcing him out of bounds there. Marquette was going to be on the cleanup if necessary, but good play by Elijah Carr to prevent that touchdown there. Tell you could hear a little bit of the bleachers rumbling here as Black tries to get through the middle, and the defense brings down the star there, and that's between Marquette on there on the tackle and company. And Freedom Cowboys travel well. Evangel Lightning team also travels well, especially with both these teams very familiar with Panama City over the years. And we're on the Freedom Cowboys home side, and you can feel the rumbling up here on top of the press box.
Oh, absolutely. And what people sometimes don't realize is the advantage that gives your team. It makes it harder for the coach to call the play in. And then if there's something the coach sees late, it's almost impossible to communicate that to your play caller and get a play changed.
2nd and 7. Black has got some options to go with. He'll air it out again, and a good catch made by Ben Davis at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that's one of their favorite route combinations. They send Ben Davis on a quick out and roll the pocket that way. It's so hard to stop because he puts his foot in the ground, gets some separation. As long as Eli puts that ball in the numbers, and they're content with taking those 8-10 yard out route yardage and keep moving the chains.
This is an Evangel Lightning offense that throughout the year has finished up with a record of 8-3. Same with the defense as well, undefeated in ACSC play. As this Lightning team now faces a new set of downs in the red zone. And a fake handoff right side overthrew Davis on the intended target there. One of those miscommunications that doesn't happen often from Eli Black. Well, Coach Smith, 97-16 overall in the 9 seasons that he's been with the Evangel Lightning, has helped contribute to their 197-47 record overall since 2005. And man who knows this setting way more than anybody on the national stage. And even when people say, well, Evangel's got a down year, they have graduated a lot of seniors, it's always Tim Smith that keeps them in the competition, along with the incredible players he gets around, as Griffith tries to push through. And the Freedom Cowboys, between Hicks and Johnson, they're stopping Griffith more often than he's used to.
Yeah, one thing about Coach Smith is he's going to throw so much at you offensively. It's not, you're not going to be able to stop one thing and win. He does such a great job. But here you see Freedom. They're playing sound, fundamental football, and as long as people continue to take care of their assignment, that's going to make Coach Smith go deep into his bag. Now, you don't win that many football games without having a deep bag, especially offensively. Coach Smith has shown that. We talked about all the different quarterbacks. Each one of those quarterbacks had different strengths. Eli, just the same, different strengths from Kemp the year before. Does not matter, still get the same production.
Griffith.
You're going to see the counter here.
As Black goes on the right side, he'll get a gain of a couple of yards, but tackle made there by Michael Johnson, and that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. Tied up at 6, both teams will swap sides of the field. We head to the second quarter. You're watching the 2025 NHFA Division I National Championship for high school 8-man football on 8-Man Extreme. first quarter that's only taken up less than 45 minutes. At least if my timing's right, about less than 30 maybe, with a little bit later start. Even though it's not even 6 o'clock here in Panama City Beach, it's pitch black, dark.
Big fourth down here out of Twins. Watch for Eli Black running the football here.
It's what they've done a lot this year, but he's going to toss it right side. A good catch. I believe that's Davis on the other side. Again, their leading receiver has got a good catch, and on a fourth down, they make an easy conversion.
Back to that same rolling the quarterback out to the right. Watch him. He's gonna go to the sticks on the out route, create separation. There it is. That's a timing route there, and that offensive line does such a great job. They know they're rolling right, so he reaches. He doesn't just block head up. He gets out, reaches, seals it, gives Eli the room to operate. Man, that's just a timing route. I bet you he could throw that with his eyes closed. And just, you know, it's hard as a defense to stop that. They're in the same formation here. Watch for the motion and counter back to the right side here.
First and goal on the 5-yard line. There's that motion you were talking about, Eli Black keeping it himself, trying to push through, and it's a good stand-up by Hershey to prevent any further yardage there other than 2.
Great job by Freedom coming down and making that tackle. They bring that guy in motion to create a numbers advantage. And a lot of times they pull that tight end and the guard or tackle, however you specify that in 8-man, and they pull it and run back across. That time, they just blocked head up, brought the guy in motion to kick the end out. They had a numbers advantage. He ran behind that running back. Number 20 for Freedom just did a great job of blowing it up and getting in there and making a tackle.
Gain of 2, 3 yards to get to the goal line. Black, same motion they had on the last play. He's going to keep it, not even touched.
That's
touchdown.
That's the counter, Spencer. That's the counter. You see him come back in motion the same way. He blocks the end out. That tight Romano does a great job on the counter of going up, going to the next level, sealing it off for Eli just to go into the end zone. Yeah, and you see Freedom, they sold out to stop because last play they had numbers on that side that they were motioning towards. So Freedom brought a blitz on that back side there, and they countered away from it. So that's just a little game of chess there between the defensive coordinator for Freedom, I believe it's Coach Goekman, and then Tim Smith, the play caller for.
Yeah, you've actually got Jacob Kinney, the defensive coordinator for the Freedom Cowboys. Goekman is on the sideline as here goes Eli Black on the 2-point conversion. He's got the octopus and the first 2-point conversion of the game.
And you see there, same motion from the 2 plays previous. I do not believe that was the counter. We'll see here on the replay. But Eli just does – it was the counter. It was the counter. And you see he goes in. His hole's not there. He bounces it outside. Eli does such a great job with his vision there. But I'm telling you, I've watched Evangel's last 3 games. This is the best the defense has done at making it difficult on them. If you go back to that South Haven game, it was counter heavy. If you go back to the East Central game, counter heavy. They went up and down the field on it. Freedom is going to make them get out of that. I do have to believe. I think those backers are going to make the adjustment. You know, as we saw a while ago, they blitzed that backside. It won't be long. You'll start seeing some extra numbers on that counter side, and we'll see how Evangel adjusts to that.
This Freedom Cowboys team got a sort of revenge game win against the Evangel Lightning 38-8, where their record in the regular season and in the national championship game has not been favorable. But both coaches, when you talk to them, as this boot will head out of bounds after a couple of bounces there. It'll head out of bounds. And both coaches, especially Coach Collins, is given, similar to what you mentioned earlier, about a lot of compliments towards the coaching on the opposition, and we got a
kick out of bounds. Lightning. Ball be placed at the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 Cowboys.
Sometimes you get the referees to make the announcements on those kickoffs. Sometimes you don't. But anyway, so Coach Collins mentioning a lot of credit towards Tim Smith and that they called each other. He remembers even in the national championship game in 2021, I should say, he walked up to Coach Smith afterwards and said, "You outcoached me. It was a good game," and a lot of respect between the two in the spirited rivalry that the Lightning and the Cowboys have had over the years. As this gets sent, Sterling Hershey in motion. He'll take the ball, or he won't. It'll actually go up to Martinet, the star player for the Cowboys here, carries it, and Only had 4 carries heading into last week and gets a gain of 1 there.
Coach Collins does such a good job of utilizing all his players. As we've seen, as we've heard tonight, Venter is kind of the centerpiece, but Coach Collins is such a good coach. He makes you respect all aspects of the offense. Yeah, he's going to lean heavily on number 9, but if you just focus on number 9, you'll be in trouble. Here he is by himself.
Another opportunity for Hershey in motion. He'll get the ball this time and try to push through, but a great wrap-up tackle by Cruz Romano to prevent him from breaking free in the middle of the field. But we do have a flag on the far side of the field, so Nate Starr will give us the rest of the story.
It looked to me like that guy was lined up on the ball and then came off to go in motion. That could be incorrect. That's extremely difficult to see from up here, but I think that's what that'll be.
Illegal motion, Cowboys. The guy in motion went toward the line of scrimmage at the top of the snap. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Yeah, so on that motion, you see him come, and he's actually retreating from the line of scrimmage. So when he turns to take that handoff, he's headed vertical towards. So that's where that penalty came into effect. It was not that he was on the ball. Just a little advantage he tries to create with the run and start and getting downhill. It's more of a timing issue, nothing illegal there unless you snap it too late, which is essentially what happened. That late snap caused him to be headed towards the line of scrimmage and got you that penalty.
Moves it back there.
They're going twins left. One guy in the backfield here.
Motion again for Martinet. And it'll be a keeper again for Venter. Bounces off of Trey Hope, but can't quite get his feet placement back in bounds, where he's forced out at about the 38.
Check that. Hope.
Yeah, and you see them bringing the motion. The same thing. I mean, it's going to be the same thing, right? They want the ball in 9's hands. Both teams want the ball in 9's hands. So what do we do there? We go twins. We have a running back in the backfield. We create numbers, right? It's all a numbers game. Do I have more guys than you? If I have more guys than you, it's probably going to go in my favor blocking-wise. So you see there, they create a huge mismatch, and Venter just runs the ball hard. Fortunately for Trey Hope, the sideline was there.
Another chance for this Freedom offense to try and get things going. 3rd down and 6. Venter, high up shelf. Good job in the bucket with a great reception by Sterling Hershey. 1st down at the 49.
What a play there by Hershey. They lined him up in the H-back position, get him out in space. Venter makes a great throw on the run, and Hershey runs under it. That's one of those things, Spence, I was talking about. You cannot focus too much on number 9 running the ball. They're going to throw something different at you. Good coverage. I think if you're Evangel, I think that's what you want to see. Obviously not the 1st down, but you want to see them throwing the ball because that's getting the ball out of number 9's hand. So here they go, one receiver out wide. They have the H-back, running back in the backfield.
Yes, they do. Another chance up the middle there. Elijah Brown, as we mentioned, another one of those, not breakout stars, but one of the guys they leaned on in their conference championship last week, as Cruz Romano, another sophomore we've called for a decent amount throughout this quarter and a half, had 49 tackles on the year, 21 on his own, getting involved on defense. And a signature of both of these teams, the clock continues to roll.
Correct. They're going to keep the ball on the ground, and when they do throw it, it's usually very safe, very effective throws. So this game could fly by with the clock continuing to run.
Venter alone in the shotgun. He's got it himself, and he's got a blocker in Horvath. He's got space again, and you notice how it takes 3+ guys usually to bring him down. Trey Hope leading the charge.
Yeah, and you see Freedom there. Again, talking about getting numbers. They pull 2 guys from that backside, and they're able to lead the charge out there. And 77 with a great block on that play. The end tried to set the edge, Spencer, and 77 just cleared the way. He's a bulldozer out there.
Tempo is something that both of these respective programs have been able to control in the majority of their games over the last several years. When they face off against each other, it's a fight back and forth for who's going to control the tempo, who's going to be able to set it on their own time. And right now, Freedom Cowboys trying to do that as they're down by 8. Venter. He's got it himself again. Venter trying to break free, and it takes 2 players, finally brought down by Zach Davis, who had to wrap up there but about a gain of 20 yards there for the star senior.
Yeah, and you see in that formation where we have one guy out wide, the running back in the backfield, they're going to follow that pull almost every time. They will throw a false pull in occasionally, but they're going to follow that H-back, and that H-back did such a good job of paving the way on that one. And then again, big 77 out in space on blocking. So when they go with that H-back, pay attention to where he goes because that's probably where the football is going to go. They're going twins with Hershey in the backfield. This has been a handoff most of the night, so we'll see what.
And Venter once again has got it himself with some space up the middle. One man to beat, 2-3. It doesn't matter who you put in front of him. Jalen Venter's going to score whenever he's got short yardage.
Absolutely, and you see on that touchdown run, they go with the fake to Hershey, who's been effective all night, and then it's just a foot race, right? The receiver does a great job out there sealing it, blocking it. A lot of times receivers don't get credit for that. He's got the block downfield. Venter just runs by him. Great vision by Venter to get into the end zone, and just a great play call after you've handed the ball off several times out of that formation to show that handoff, pull it, follow your pulling guard, and get in the end zone.
It may be higher scoring at this point, but this is starting to look very similar to a couple of previous matchups this Lightning team has had, especially from last on Thursday where they had their semifinal go to overtime against the South Haven Patriots. As Marquette went in motion, Venter trying to keep it himself. He's got a double octopus on the night. 14 all with 7:06 left to go in the second quarter. It's tied up in the national championship. Every point that has been scored by the Freedom Cowboys so far on the night has been on the heels of their star senior in Jalen Venter, most valuable player for last week's conference championship. He's also part of the leading statistics for the team. As we mentioned, rushing leader and rushing touchdown leader. As now Landon Mildy will decide if he wants to boot this short or boot it deep, and he'll go all the way back. Trey Hope has to go back for it to about the 10, and he'll try to get some sort of return here at about a yard or two after contact, and Evangel will try to respond.
One interesting thing about Trey Hope, it's his first year playing football. He's a dual sport athlete. He may even play all three of the baseball, basketball, football. But he was integral in keeping the Lightning afloat during Eli Black's injury and giving Eli time to return. So, it's interesting to see all the different ways they're able to use Trey. But great job by Freedom there, again, putting them back inside the 25-yard line, making them drive the field. Very interesting to see an 8-man team kick it deep like that, but it seems to work for Freedom as they do a great job covering downfield.
And for his first year of football, to be tied with Ben Davis after their conference championship in receiving touchdowns at 7, made his mark in just 1 year for this Lightning program.
We got 4 wide. Usually the Lightning like to run out of this with the quarterback.
Another chance in motion as Eli Black will try to take it himself. Couldn't reverse in time, or he did, but he got past the tackle. Seth Hicks couldn't get the better of Eli Black, and what looked like a certain tackle for loss brings Eli Black to the 31.
That's what makes Eli so dangerous there. He keeps his legs moving. He keeps his eyes downfield looking for running lanes. You see Hardman coming in at the end there to run him out of bounds. Great job staying with the play. This Evangel offense, when they bring somebody in motion, a lot of the time you've got to watch for the run coming back to where that motion left from. So that was true there. That was true on the last possession with the counters. That's something that Coach Smith has coached so well. His line does such a good job of getting out there and getting to their assignments. So be interesting to see if they run away from that, kind of set Freedom up. Empty backfield here again, but this time with 2 tight and 2 out wide.
Made a gain of about 7 yards here as Black tries to get the first down. He'll get it as he's forced down by Julian Harden and company, but the chains will move, and Evangel will continue to push down the field.
Harden did a great job there, but it looked like,
That's enough for a
Mark Connick did a great job of sealing the edge there because Eli, it looked for a second like Eli was going to get out there. He was right there to seal it, put him back inside, gave Harden the chance to make that tackle instead of it be a foot race.
For the first year in a long time that Tim Smith has coordinated this Evangel Lightning offense, it's been pretty successful. Still has Hagen Joyner as a consultant on the sideline for them.
Got the Twins with 1 guy in the backfield. Watch for 22 to run the ball here.
And they'll hand it off again up the middle. Once again, Isaac Griffith, man who had 84 rushes heading into Florida, has got a big gain of 7, maybe 8.
We're getting up to the 43-yard line. Make that the 44-yard line.
And looks like there will be a
second down.
timeout called by the Freedom Cowboys.
Timeout on the field, Cowboys. First charge timeout of the half.
They'll get a chance to think it over. We'll step aside past the halfway point in the second quarter. Second and 2 from outside the 45-yard line. Freedom Cowboys get a chance to think it over. They have 2 timeouts remaining in the first half. Davis in motion, Black airing it out, left side, another good intended pass. It's intercepted! Julian Harden with the pick, his 3rd interception of the year at a minimum.
Great play there by Harden, and that's a humongous play there for Freedom as they get the chance to score here with under 6 minutes left in the half and get the ball back. That shows a lot about where Coach Smith's mindset was there with under 6 minutes, 2nd and short. A lot of coaches would have just, hey, let's try to milk this down and score, go into the half. Coach Smith stayed aggressive, and Harden did a great job of staying aware, grabbing the ball, and now this is the chance kind of for a 2-for-1 for Freedom.
First and 10.
Tell you, both teams having interceptions, and Julian Arden, the sophomore, in his breakout year for the Freedom Cowboys, has got an interception in the national championship. And another handoff, chance to break through. And how about the drag there of Kaysen Venable, who wasn't able to bring down Elijah Brown on that run? A big first down yet again.
Yeah, that's that hard-nosed run game there for Freedom. Takes, a host of lightning there. I mean, we tried, Evangel tried to hit him low. He just sidestepped it, kept going, and then kept those feet churning. Big gain there for Brown.
Took the cleanup of Briggs Brady to help bring him down there. Looked like may have been a little bit of a shake to break free further. Venter, he'll hand it off again, and no chance. There's Caleb Woods and company. Biggest man on the line for the Evangel Lightning gets the tackle.
Yeah, and that's an interesting call there by Freedom. You see their mindset, right? They're going to stay on the ground. They're going to keep pounding it. I think that's kind of a 4-quarter mindset there. Hey, can we grind this defense down? You know they're going to pick their spots with Venter on their big explosive runs, but Brown, they're going to lean on that defensive line, lean on the defensive linebackers, and just make them continue to hit that guy all night.
Loss of 1 yard on the play for a 2nd and 11. Venter keeping it himself, finds a seam. Venter's got a little bit more. One man to beat. He has a collision there with Trey Hope, but not before he gets to the 37.
At the 30.
That was Ben Davis on that tackle in the back end. I know they look very similar. Those corners are probably going to get tired of hitting that big ball carrier, but they're doing a great job of getting in there and you know, keeping it from being a touchdown. Great job by Venter there. You saw it again, one wide out with the H-back. He followed that H-back, followed his running back, and just for another explosive play. Yeah, when you're tackling guys like Venter, like Brown, all these Freedom guys, and you know, you're a DB specifically, but everybody, you've got to go low. If you try to hit these guys high, they're going to drag you, you know, for first downs, touchdowns.
Venter once again tries to push forward to about the 30. They'll stuff him. Maybe forward progress called there at the 29. Yes, they will give it to him there as the Cowboys are a couple of yards short of the line to gain.
You saw there the first guy, it's funny, we were just talking about tackling high. The first guy got up in his shoulder pads, and he just continued to drive him. And luckily for the defense, there were some other guys around there because Venter just kept those feet churning, kept them moving, and he was going to continue to drive until the cavalry came.
3 and change left to go before we get to halftime as Freedom with the lead, trying to capitalize off of the interception, just like Evangel did earlier. Another chance up the middle, going to about the 23-yard line, and that'll move the chains for a first down off of the senior's carry in Elijah Brown.
You saw Harden there at the H-back position. They did a little pin and pull there with the tight end, where the tight end kicked out. Venter went, or excuse me, the H-back went inside, and Brown followed him up in there. It looked like Brown may have got tripped up in the backfield, but just kept his feet going and, you know, just drove to the first down.
Marching down the field and controlling tempo, the Cowboys do get the ball to start the second half as Freedom has another set of downs outside the 20. Venter again finds space, gets to about the 15, 2 yards short of the sticks.
Clock's still moving here. I think Freedom is content with letting the clock go and getting it down inside a minute before they really get in a hurry, because I mean, they've got 2 timeouts left. They really don't want to give Evangel a chance to answer a touchdown here. They really want to try to get, you know, the final touchdown and get the ball back. So I wouldn't expect to see them get in a hurry here, but as explosive as this offense can be, it could be any play.
Butler on the outside as Venter will try to push through. He'll get to about the 13, and it's another important factor too, since this Freedom defense has really not given up any big plays throughout the majority of this game. And we got a whistle here on the field with the officials. I believe about a third down, and I believe they're calling a timeout to measure.
Timeout, Lightning. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
All right, so both teams will burn a timeout. We'll be back in a few moments here. 1:46 left to go before halftime. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining in this first half. Haven't had much need to use them with clock winding down and a lot of rush plays, but now Venter has a 3rd and 1. He'll get it himself and a little bit more, trying to get past the last tackle, but he will get down to the 5-yard line. Another 1st and goal for Freedom.
Yeah, stayed in the same formation with the one guy in the backfield, the H-back, and just follow his guys. You got a timeout now, Spencer.
Timeout, Lightning. That's their second charge timeout.
It really feels like Coach Smith is trying to get the ball back here with some time to try to, answer. If Freedom puts this in the end zone, he wants some time to try to get back on the board.
Both these head coaches know each other very well over the years. Both of them offensive coordinators. Really wasn't the case for a lot of years. Hagan Joyner still an consultant, as Tim Smith put it, at ACSC Media Day earlier this year. Mentioned with Hagan stepping aside to take care of his new family, something you know very well, Coach, of having to take those responsibilities and figure out how to balance the work-life side of things. And still good to see him on the coaching staff. And I know in your case, you know very well how emotional and encouraging it can be when you're able to get back on that sideline.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's something that's very hard to step aside from, and I know Hagan is excited, and Coach Smith's excited to have Hagan on the sideline with him still, but it's just a testament to see how Coach Smith's been able to maintain the offense this year, and really not much difference from all the years prior with Hagan running it.
Clay Romano's coordinated defense trying to get a goal line stand here on 1st and goal. Venter has got several blockers trying to find space on the outside. He pushes through after contact. Touchdown, Freedom Cowboys.
Great run there by Venter. Lets his guys get out. He has a patient run, and then as soon as his guys pick up, explodes to the outside, puts his shoulder down, finishes it himself. Just a great run by Jalen and great execution all around by the Cowboys.
95 seconds remaining in this half here, and you would think the Freedom Cowboys would boot it deep after getting this touchdown and score up and try to hold a defensive stand here. But from what we've seen throughout this whole weekend in the NHFA tournament, don't be surprised with anything you see coming up on special teams. But for now, two-point conversion attempt. Venter has got Brown to his right, and he'll keep it himself again, but he doesn't notice there's a man pursuing him. We have a flag from the backside there as the two-point conversion attempt is good, but
it's going to be a hold. They're going to back him up here.
Holding, Cowboys. 10 yards from the previous spot, retry.
It's one of those things 99% of the time when you see a big play happen, normally that flag isn't thrown from the deep official there, but most of the times you see a flag thrown near the line of scrimmage, it's probably a hold on the offense.
Yeah, it looked like that was maybe on the backside guard, which, surprising since it went the other way, but, just guys fighting, trying to do their jobs. And, it looks like Freedom, man, they're staying in that same formation, one guy out wide, running back in the backfield with the H-back, and they're just following this H-back. Everybody gives Venter the credit, and he needs it. He deserves it. But, man, you really got to watch those H-backs. Right now, it's still number 4. And he's been paving the way a lot tonight for Venters in these big runs.
Here's Venter again. Looks like he's going to pass towards the end zone, overthrew his target of Briggs Brady in the corner. And that'll be incomplete.
Conversion is no good. With 1:35 left in the half, Cowboys 20, Lightning 14.
Now, Briggs Brady, he's only made one catch on the year for 13 yards, incomplete in the corner. And you mentioned how both of these teams travel fairly well. How about both of these teams having their respective alumni also present here in Panama City, especially bigger stadium, bigger crowd, night lights on a Saturday night. I'm sure their main purpose is here for the game, get to soak in the city and everything, but great to see a lot of respective alumni here for both sides.
It's always great to see your guys come back, support the younger guys, support the guys maybe they played with, or just especially if they've been here, which both of these teams have been here so often. You can really lean on those players to kind of give some wisdom, whether it's what they need to be doing on their off time, how they need to be responding, taking care of their bodies. It's just such a great thing to have those guys here and see them continue to support their alma mater.
And a lot of these alumni from their respective alma maters, they want to see them bring back a national championship. For the Freedom Cowboys would be first in their history, as this is their 5th time making it to the national championship game, 0-4 thus far, 6-6 overall in NHFA games, including Thursday night's victory against the Tri-State Kings Crusaders. Squib kick here, picked up touched at about the 15 and picked up here for the return as Romano is unable to get past two of the Freedom Cowboys. That's Harden with the tackle, about to the 23-yard line. And the Evangel Lightning have a minute 28 to work with here on offense.
Yeah, and what a great job by Freedom putting the ball way downfield, because you have to know for both sides how important this next drive is. This next minute 28 for Evangel on offense, for Freedom on defense. If you can keep Evangel out of the end zone and get the ball back in the third quarter and have a chance to go up 2 possessions, then that just opens up, you know, the rest of the game. You're not chasing, you're not really pressing. And then on the other side of it, Evangel's not used to going in down at the half, so they're going back with their twins look on offense.
Right side, Black looking for the pass. He's got his man in Davis again. Top receiver gets a good reception, and that'll stop the clock and move the chains for a first down.
And watch for that this possession, because that gets the ball out of bounds. Again, that's kind of their staple play. You see that right guard out there reaching, trying to seal. First down. I think they'll 10-yard it all the way down the field if they're able to. It'll be interesting to see what adjustment Freedom makes there at DB. One thing to keep an eye on is they do like to slip in an out and up out of that formation, so they may pump fake the out and send Ben down the sideline for the out and up.
1st and 10.
There's the out.
Black with the scramble, get a couple of yards. He's forced out of bounds after a gain of around 4. They'll spot it at the 38, or around the 38, 39-yard line, and brings it up.
It really appeared to be the same play call, but like I said, how are they going to adjust? Did a great job of coverage there, strung it out. All Eli could do was tuck it. He did get 5 yards, but, you know, great job by that Freedom secondary for adjusting and taking that away.
And it does the other factor about it as well, Evangel managing the clock well and giving themselves more time to drive down the field. As Black will go to his right again. He's going to air it out up the middle, and it's a great catch. It's Trey Hope. Trey Hope has got space, and Trey Hope will head all the way to the end zone. A 62-yard passing touchdown.
Yeah, that was just, I mean, when you have that many playmakers all over the field, we're talking about Eli, we're talking about Ben. You see him slip him back on that backside crosser, and just such an explosive offense there. At any second there, they could strike like that. That's why it was so important to try to milk the clock down. That's why Coach Smith was calling those timeouts. Like we said, hey, if Freedom scores, he wants a chance to answer. Well, there was his chance. He answered. But, Spencer, they've got a minute 8 seconds left. So, you know, Freedom still could potentially score twice, you know, before Evangel touches the ball again.
A little bit belated to say this, but Evangel has surpassed the amount of points they got on the Freedom Cowboys earlier this year at 8 points in that 38-8
They've
loss.
got a receiver uncovered out there. Venter gets Harden out there, but
Julian Harden covers him up as Venter, I beg your pardon, Eli Black trying to push through, and he gets stopped.
But dropped short.
And there it is, Venter in on the tackle there, and kept Eli from pushing through. That was several guys on the Freedom Cowboys in on that tackle, but
I had the right idea with saying Venter there, but he wasn't the one carrying the ball yet. 9 versus 9, the Black versus Venter competition here. 1:08 left to go in the first half, 20 all. If there's one thing we've noticed about both of these teams throughout the competition, they could show you how they could drag out as much time as possible to drive down and score, but they can also score very quickly, as it's a fair catch ruled at about the 36, maybe the 37-yard line for Eli Carr, and about 70-something yards. Southern Christian leading Pack 27-0 on the other field. Or I beg your pardon, the win there. Southern Christian winning against Pack in the Division III championship earlier today. or Division III, I should say. And that game just ended, actually. So looks like that got a little extended if they're having another bowl competition on Publix Field. All those other games on respective 8-man extreme channels. James Shannon running the iPad and scoreboard over at Publix Park. Rest of us here at Gavilax Stadium.
All right, here's Venter with 2 wide receivers. Still got the H-back, just moved the running back out to wide receiver. Be interesting to see what they go with here. I would still keep an eye on that H-back. Ball's probably going where he goes.
Another motion there for Hershey, but not a surprise. It's a carry up the middle again by Venter. But this Evangel Lightning defensive line is starting to crack some codes here. Combination between Black and Venable.
Yeah, and when you watch the replay here, the H-back comes across, follows the guard. The guard does a great job of hitting Trey Hope. I mean, great block there, but just the linebackers did such an excellent job of flowing and filling the gaps. Able to get him for a no gain there. So great job by the Evangel Lightning. And even Trey Hope, he's a little corner, not used to being in the box like that. Great job taking on that block. If he doesn't do that, he could, that guard could potentially.
Timeout. Lightning. That's their last charge timeout.
Lightning are going to burn their final timeout of the half here. Give a chance for both of them to think it over. 33.7 left here in this first half. And about 20 all, and you've been in these situations before. You're at the half. You know that you're going to get the ball back to start it, at least at a kickoff, unless there's an onside kick. What sort of plays do you think about in these circumstances?
With Venter at quarterback, I think you have to try to overload one side. I know we've been talking about run to your strength. I think you almost run to your weakness here, try to get him to beat, because you know he's going to beat the first man there almost every time. Get him in space. Pick your spots passing the ball. I know he's a capable passer, maybe not his strength. So, I think running the ball, and giving him a chance in space is their best scenario here. Won't surprise me if they throw the ball. They beat me on a 4th down pass for in one of the national championships, so nothing surprises me with Coach Collins. I'm just telling you I would go with my strength, but that's why I'm sitting up here and Coach Collins is coaching for another national championship.
Venter.
There's the double
looking
move.
For the chance. He's going to air it out. Does Briggs Brady have it? No, it was overthrown towards the sideline. Good idea there. Ben Davis celebrates, saying no catch or chance there as it goes incomplete for a 3rd and 10.
Right, and we've talked about Venter's injury earlier in the game. At least when we played against Freedom earlier this year, number 3, Callan was the quarterback, and he's a really good passer, really big body. He runs it hard, but, man, he could really spin the thing. So I think maybe if you had him, you may push the ball downfield a little more. He was a lot more accurate passer, but that's not to say Venter can't throw it down the field. That's just saying in a lot of these late-game situations like this, Callan would be the guy that they've leaned on to throw it. They're going back to the one receiver look, got the H-back.
Venter on the 3rd and 10. Can he get this done himself? He's forced out of bounds around the 40-yard line, so nowhere near enough to gain the first down. And decision time here for Coach Collins with 22 seconds.
It'll be very interesting to see here, the way Evangel's offense is. I'll be honest with you, if I'm calling the play here, we got a timeout.
Cowboys. That's their 2nd charge timeout. This will be a full timeout.
And they gave it even more of a chance to think it over here, Coach.
Yeah, so you've got to think for Coach Collins. You got 7 yards here. The way Venter's carried the ball, the way Brown's carried the ball, you've had some guys get some momentum and get some space, and then the way your defense has played. We talked about it earlier. They haven't really given up many explosive plays. They gave up that explosive pass, but it was on 3rd or 4th down earlier in the game. So do you trust your defense to hold them for what would probably be 13 or 14 seconds if you don't get it here? From 40 yards out. I think the way they've been playing, I would trust that, Spencer.
A lot of decisions to come up with here on a 4th and 7, about a 4th and 6. And gives a chance here for the Lightning defense to make a good stand. Special teams even to maybe make a big return. We've seen that throughout the years with some expected punt returns.
Yeah, I would just want to keep the ball out of Trey Hope and Ben Davis's hands on special teams. That's another reason I would go for it. And it looks like they are. They're back into a 2 wide out, 1 tight, 1 H-back, so he's empty. Don't be surprised.
Hershey in motion. Venter across the
Screen
middle.
play.
He's got a good one there, and he's wrapped up. It'll be a turnover on downs. Eli Black, the man to bring it down. Martinet.
Great play call there by Coach Collins on the screen. That's the first screen we've seen today. Looks like they're going to be enough for a first down there, Spencer.
Or are they having a whistle here? I think Tim Smith maybe arguing that. Yeah, they just ruled it a first
down. On the
down.
spot. Yeah, I was about to say, based on the spot, it's a first.
Yeah, I thought his knee was down a couple yards beforehand, but Venter spikes it down with 12.8. I don't know if we can reload that video again. I don't think we can, but that is one of those where it looked like it was maybe a yard or two back from the line to gain.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the spot, but great job by Freedom getting up there, getting on the ball, clocking it, because as soon as they figure that out, that clock starts again. So
yep.
I would expect to see some double moves out here and trying to get to the end zone here in 2 plays.
Well, especially because they've got one timeout available. They didn't have to burn it in that aspect. And last year, the national championship did have video review available with a larger crew, as this is a carry here for Blake Martinet. Martinet with one man to beat. The Cowboys do have a timeout, and Coach Collins calls it smartly inside the 30. A big gain, 4.5 in the half.
Great job, great play call. You see that H-back.
Timeout.
You see that H-back
Cowboys.
coming across the formation like he's been doing all night on the
timeout.
counter. This time Venter goes, fakes the run, flips it to him. Just a great play there, great play call, and that's been set up all evening.
And 4.5 inside the 30, actually at the 26. You think they trust it to Venter here maybe? I know their passing game has started to gain some momentum, but Jalen Venter's made those sort of big rushes, at least in the couple of games that he's been along. But it's also so tough against this Evangel defense where they're anticipating where he's going to run.
Yeah, what's your best 26-yard play, right? And I think they're going to put it in the air here. I would probably trust Jalen Venter myself to run behind that big H-back, to run behind. Let's see, the personnel will tell you a lot. Harden's not in at H. He's been the guy at H-back most of the night who they've ran behind. So he's not in at H-back right here. They're going 2 wide. Number 13. Let's see, they're going 2 wide outs with a tight end, and
it's Martinet and Butler out wide. Maybe the final play of the first half. It's going to be aired out on the corner. Time expires, and it's swatted down by Ben Davis. And that is going to take us to the halftime intermission. We got an exciting one for you here in Panama City. 20-all at the half. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. You're watching the NHFA National Championship for high school 8-man football here on 8-Man Extreme. second half action seconds away here from Panama City Beach, Florida. A score of 20-20. Then an exciting back and forth bout between these two heavyweights in the 8-man football scene. Nick Sanders will get us started here for the Evangel Lightning, and it'll be booted deep, and that was Mark Cadet who will touch it and start to return it at the 10-yard line. Wove through 2 tackles for a little bit, but didn't get his footing, and gets about past the 15-yard line, around to the 16, maybe the 18, where they'll spot him there. And as we mentioned, Freedom Cowboys getting the ball to start out this second half after allowing the score to get tied up.
Great coverage there by number 4, Sawyer Welch, on the kickoff there. You may recognize that last name. His brother was a 3-year starter for Evangel, Will Welch. So great job. His dad's also the special teams coordinator. So, good job flying down the field there, making a tackle and getting them inside the 20.
And we mentioned it about how the Evangel offensive system has had incredible captains on the quarterback side, including several of the Welch family on that side. Eli Black trying to stamp his mark here as a junior in the national championship, but at least for now, he'll be on the defensive side as Venter pops it up forward over Elijah Brown, tries to get through, gets gain of about 4 to 5, and that gets the clock continuing to run for the second time in this half.
Yeah, that's a different look than you've seen most of the night. I don't know that we've seen a jet sweep from Freedom, so you can tell they went into halftime, saw some things they liked and wanted to put out there, and got a good little gain to start the game.
This Freedom Cowboys team will graduate 14 seniors here who will walk the stage in 2026. Graduated 10 earlier this year for 2025. A lot of people to reload as this gets tripped up in the backfield. A tackle for a loss of about 3. No chance for a run to go forward here for Elijah Brown.
There was Eli Black in on that tackle. He had a quiet first half on defense, so look for him to make a big impact here defensively. He's just as important to this defense as he is the offense. It'll be interesting to see with the news that Spencer broke at the beginning of the game how well he's able to sustain that effort throughout the rest of this game.
A lot of stomach bugs going around the teams here in Florida coming into the tournament, not because of it, to clarify. It's that time of the year with a lot of flu and sickness and everything.
Had some confusion there. Coach Collins burned a timeout to try to get it straightened out.
Cowboys. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
It's one of those things you don't like to have a timeout burned early on, but the Cowboys have to burn their first here at 10:25 remaining in this third quarter. So not something you like to see often, but at least the Cowboys get to think it over here early in the second half. We'll see how that first burn timeout affects the Freedom Cowboys going down the stretch of this national championship. He'll have Venter once again. He'll send another man in motion. And he'll keep it himself as he's got a broken tackle trying to stiff arm another one. He's tackled from behind by Ben Davis, but not before he gets a first down just outside the 40.
Yeah, Evangel did a good job of getting in the backfield there, but not able to bring him down. And
for a Cowboy first down.
One missed tackle in the backfield there by Black, and then it was off to the races. And luckily those DBs grabbed on and waited for help. And so, but yeah, we just talked about Eli Black. He was able to get back there. He read the play correctly, just not able to finish the play. Great job by Venter, running the ball hard and being a tough tackle every time.
On the 39-yard line, this Evangel Lightning defense allows at least a new set of downs here. Venter looked like he was going to lob it out, but keeps it himself. And this is why he is so incredible. Has Ben Davis to beat, and he beats him. Touchdown, Freedom Cowboys.
Great job on the fake out to the side. You got the defense flowing, put his foot in the ground straight upfield, and just made some guys miss. It was off to the races. Him versus Ben, crosses Ben up. Just a great play call by Coach Collins there, getting the defense to flow and put the ball in the hands of your best player and let him do the rest.
I'll tell you, we were talking about two-point conversion attempts going through the first half, and several of the teams missing their respective after-touchdown tries. And might be what this game comes down to. There's been a lot of those situations in Florida where it's come down to two-pointers. Hershey in motion. Venter trying to go himself. Tried to spin out, couldn't get through. Initial tackle by Eli Black, and it leaves the lead at 6 points for the Freedom Cowboys here. Early on, they get the first score on their first offensive drive.
Lightning.
We get set for this kickoff here. Landon Mildy will set it away. I want to give a special shout out. We're sharing the top of this press box here. The Evangel Christian School Lightning have their own school broadcast. Scott Stafford and a slew of many different crew members who work incredibly hard covering their respective football team. And to my knowledge, they also go on to basketball as well through the year and covering other sports. Always great to have conversation with them as this pops up. Ben Davis will try to return it, and it'll get stuffed at about the 16-yard line. And a good move there from Briggs Brady to force him to a halt.
Great coverage there by Brady. They let the ball bounce. As soon as he picks it up, Brady's there for the tackle. Yeah, that's a guy that we haven't heard a whole lot from this first half, but he's had a huge year this year, somebody that the Cowboys lean on and can count on. So comes up big there on that kickoff.
At least on the regular defensive side, 25 tackles, 19 of them on his own, and an interception. As Briggs Brady gets the stop there on special teams. First and 10, just outside the 15-yard line. Let's see what this Evangel Lightning offense can do as they send Hope in motion, and Eli Black will carry it himself. Is he going to do the same thing Jalen Venter did earlier? Not a chance, because Sterling Hershey read that, but it is a big gain for a first down. They'll spot him at the 35.
Different formation there. Still had the running back, but you had Ben Davis in the backfield instead of one of the traditional running backs.
And that's a Lightning.
Gets out in space. They, kind of similar to what Freedom did. They didn't throw the play fake, but they had to respect Ben Davis on that swing route, so it loosened up the middle of that defense and was able to find a crease for a big gain.
It almost looked like Eli Black was going to be free at the end zone there. Great awareness there from Sterling Hershey, adding on to the 29 tackles he had heading into last week.
Back to their twins formation. If that slot guy comes in motion, watch for the counter. Here's the motion.
Yeah, motion there, hand it off again. And that defensive line for the Freedom Cowboys, not going to let it happen there. It's Jack Hull, one of the players there to get stopped there. Beg your pardon, that's actually Michael Johnson there. Or no, it was Jack Hull on there with the tackle and company, and no gain on the play.
Great job by Freedom's defense there, just attacking the ball, getting there. They did not run the counter that time. The blitz, I don't know that they blitzed or just had gap control that it was that good. And it didn't give a chance for that one to get going. Running back checks out of the game here.
Yeah, Isaac Griffith heading over to the Evangel sideline. Freedom Cowboy fan base trying to do their part.
They're going trips. Earlier in the game, they utilized this formation to run back to the tight end side. It'll be interesting to see if he runs it behind Clay Romano here.
There's it.
Black
You
up the middle.
called it immediately with going to the
40-yard
41-yard line. They do whistle Eli Black down. Thought maybe he wasn't tackled and spun off the body of a defender.
Down by number 16, marking
It's
that.
interesting there that they bring the guy in motion, bring another guy into the box. Earlier in the game, they were not motioning there and to help the numbers, but spread them
That
out,
brings up a third.
see if you can get a crease, and that
4.
gives less guys in the box to help clean you up. So. Going to be twins to the top side of your screen. I would not be surprised to see the out route here to Ben Davis again.
Out of 3rd and 4. Black,
Rolling
right
right.
side, catch made, Davis.
Throws in the-
He's got the first down at the 47.
You can see there they switched on
Number
that
3,
because it was a
Davis.
cross. Just was not able to get downhill enough. He was there to make the
That's enough for a
tackle, which was
Lightning
great.
first down.
It'll be interesting to see if they swap that up, how they plan to make that adjustment. You can see they adjusted from the first half. First half they stayed man on. Maybe they switched to a zone there to take that away. That's really been the one pass play that's hit all night for Evangel. They're gonna go twins to the bottom here. He's less likely to throw that out route here because he likes to roll to his throwing hand. I think you're going to see another run from Griffith here.
That was in motion there was
Black with a handoff to
Nevens
Griffith,
as
who
going
fights
up
his
the
way
middle
up the
across midfield. Another good carry as Isaac Griffith checked back into the game to carry it for
Finally
about
brought down
4
by
yards.
number 20, Hershey, after about a 5-yard gain. Brings up
This
2nd
Evangel
down.
Lightning team on the year. They won in their conference championship 64-49 against East Central. Who also made their way down here to Florida earlier in the Division II bracket. And they are 12-0 here in Florida at a record of 7 straight national championships. We're not a part of last year's tournament. And back here trying to claim another title as Eli Black will try to get through.
Black
Great
with the
push. He's
deep
so good at
bounce
yards
out to the
after
right
contact
side.
and gets just short of the sticks.
Yeah, and you see 53 checked in there at the slot. That's Jack Nivens. He's got an interesting story. He started out as an offensive lineman, lost a lot of weight. He's really became a running back, slot receiver there. So it's interesting to see all the different ways they utilize him. He came in there for Ben Davis. So I think if you're Freedom and when you see Ben Davis out of the game, you really have to take that opportunity to peel your ears back and focus in on 9 running the football.
This third quarter has gone along very pacedly. 1 yard to gain on a third down here. Under 5 minutes left to go in this third quarter. Eli Black with the sneak. He's got the first down and is still pushing the pile down outside the 35.
Pulls his way out.
Great play out of the I formation there. Just old school football. Line it up. See if you can stop it. Great pickup there.
Ball placed at the 37-yard line. First down, Lightning.
Freedom Cowboys team on their side. They ended the year with a 10-3 record, won in their conference championship against the Colts Christian Community 56-28. Had an extra game with the CCAV in the quarterfinal round and the Cowboys being the number 2 seed in that competition. Evangel only having to play a semi, the ACS. Toss across the middle. Another catch made for the Lightning. Here goes Cruz Romano, and he's free through 3 different defenders. The Lightning have tied it up again.
Yeah, big play there by Cruz. Cruz has been thrown all over the field. You see that's that formation where Ben goes in the backfield. So they send him out on a swing. I think that loosens up for the tight end to streak down the middle of the field. Great pickup there by Eli. Great defense. That ball was well defended, Spencer, and Cruz just goes up and makes a play and ties us up.
I tell you, this Freedom defense, especially you mentioned Cruz Romano, a sophomore, making that play. 2 more years he stays with the Evangel Lightning, or even 2 more years in his high school career and making moves like that.
We got trips here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Eli run it to the left side of the formation, right behind Cruz Romano.
Another man in motion. Black looking for the option, trying to find it. He's going to go himself, and he loses the football. But did he get it off in time? It's good. 2-point conversion is good. What a play and awareness from Eli Black. Almost dead on that attempt.
Yeah, I think that was more of a fumble into the end zone. I don't think he's across the line of scrimmage. He just fumbled that ball, and Ben comes back in. Great awareness there.
3 minutes, 49 seconds left.
2-point lead for the Lightning over Freedom with 3:49 left to go. Play clock needed to be reset. Nate Starr and company stopping the clock there. Wind also picking up here in the nighttime in Panama City. Right now 67 degrees and clear skies in the panhandle of the United States.
One thing that's interesting to me, Spencer, Evangel historically kicks a lot of onside kicks. You haven't seen many tonight. It's been more squib.
A little bit of a squib there, high up one, as this will go down to the 20-yard line. And trying to go on a return yet again is Blake Marconet. Marconet trying to push forward. Just a lot of high stepping there, heading around the special teams of the Lightning, and he gets it to about the 35.
Yeah, I think the kickoffs just go to show how much Tim Smith and the Evangel Lightning respect Freedom. They're not willing to give them that field position and risk the onside kick, because if you watch back a bunch of Evangel games historically, you know, going back before this season and specifically this season, they're a onside kick heavy team, and we haven't seen one yet tonight. So that shows the respect they have for this team and their offense, not wanting to give them those free yards.
With a 2-point lead, the Evangel defense tried to shut down the Freedom Cowboys, something that's only happened about 1 or 2 times throughout the game. The rest of these teams have pretty much scored on all their drives, as this is carried up for about 2 yards by Venter. And we mentioned it earlier in the first half, both these teams being rush heavy. Time is going to be of the essence, especially when you think about Freedom only having 2 of their timeouts, Evangel having all 3.
Yeah, Freedom's been able to strike quick, whether by design or whether just by Jalen Venter making those plays. But that'll be interesting to watch, especially with it being a 2-point Evangel lead. You know, those 2-point conversions could come back to play a big role in this game.
This trying to carry forward to about the line of scrimmage. No gain, maybe a loss of a half a yard there. Great line by the defense of Evangel.
No gain on the play, brings up 3rd down.
Great play there by Evangel, you know, staying downhill. We've got an injury on the field.
It looks like Elijah Brown is down here on the field, and we will step aside while Freedom looks at him. Well, good news. Elijah Brown did stand up on his own feet, but he is being looked at by the training staff, and you hate it for the young man. Last year, also injured. This is his senior year, final game. Really wanted to show out for this Freedom Cowboys squad, and now being looked at by the training staff. Wishing all the best for the senior for the Freedom Cowboys. Here's Jalen Venter. He'll try to reverse it, lost the football, and the Evangel Lightning have the fumble recovery. Turned on the other side, trying to reverse it, and the Cowboys let up their second turnover of the game.
And that's Cruz Romano there. He was back there to interrupt the handoff, stayed with it, recovered the football. Big play, big time play by Cruz Romano there.
1st and 10.
Just his second fumble recovery of the year, and this is moments like this where players have to lock in, compartmentalize, and move on.
Yeah, I mean, Cruz is just scored the big touchdown. Could have had an emotional letdown on defense, stayed locked in. If you're the Freedom Cowboys, though, right now you buckle down, you come back and get the ball back, and it's still anybody's game.
The Lightning, high snap, and Eli Black does recover. He's brought down by Blade Marquinette for a tackle for loss.
Great job by Black to recover that, but just like we were talking about before that play, if you're Freedom, you've got to stay dialed in because at any moment they could put the ball on the ground. You could be there to recover, but great job by Eli Black to be aware, go up and get that ball. Yes, you lost 7 yards there, but it's a lot better than losing the possession.
One of the few times you see a high-up snap situation for the Evangel Lightning. Usually on the center side, they've had that locked in the last several years, and it puts it back at the 41-yard line for about a 2nd and 16.
You've got twins with Ben Davis in the slot, so
love that motion play with Ben Davis due the Lightning and airing it out. Black across the middle, high up. It's almost intercepted. Jeremiah Butler almost had his first pick of the season.
We got a flag in the backfield here. Could be holding.
And if they call this on the defense, Butler is also going to be frustrated, not just because he couldn't pull it in.
Generally, when the flag is right there.
Roughing the quarterback, Cowboys. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
I didn't see that on the back end. Obviously, we were looking at the pass there, but a lucky break for the Evangel Lightning as it's moved up 15 yards.
Yeah, that was the first time they've let the motion clear all the way. Usually they're snapping that motion while the receiver's in the backfield so he can kick out that end and so or receive the jet sweep. So that'll be something interesting. That'll be a cue for Freedom to watch for as we go down the stretch of this game is, hey, if he clears, watch out for that backside one-on-one. That's what they were trying to do is get Trey Hope matched up on Butler one-on-one, and Butler held his own. Butler was there for the interception.
From the 26, outside of it at the 27.
They love quarterback counter here. Watch them running back to the counter where the motion came from.
Black keeping it himself, bounces off a couple of defenders and gets squeezed to about the 15-yard line. They'll spot him right at the line to gain for a 1st down.
That's enough for a Lightning 1st down.
Yeah, you see there, they don't go to the counter. They just run behind the motion. They're doing a great job. Coach Smith's doing a great job of mixing it up, not letting them see the same thing too often, but they are seeing number 9 carry that football a lot tonight.
On the 16-yard line, the Lightning in the red zone as we reach the final 52 seconds here in this 3rd quarter.
Griffith is back in, so you're going to go to the twins to the top side with Griffith at running back.
Griffith in the backfield. He's going to try to help block as Eli Black looks for some space, and they'll go to about an 8-yard gain.
Down to the 8-yard line.
Looked a little bit broken in the backfield there. Not sure if it should have been a handoff or if it was going to be a fake handoff, but Eli ran into Griffith there. You see that, and then was able to bounce around and make a positive play out of it. It looks like Evangel is going to take it to the quarter. This is going to be a 4th quarter battle here, Spencer.
2-point lead in the national championship for high school 8-man football. The Lightning on top of the Cowboys in their third rematch in the Natty game. We got an exciting one set to head to the final frame here in the United States Panhandle. Quick lineup for the Evangel Lightning, trying to prevent the play clock from coming down, even though it's not running in stadium. Start of the fourth quarter. Sneak for Eli Black, almost to the goal line. He's down at the 1. Does get a first and goal here. Spencer Tomset, Hunter Wilson. Also got producer Eli Cornett, director Brendan Daniel. Got Jordan Cruz also joining us on the scoreboard side. Preston McElhaney. Proud to be with you here in Florida, Sunshine State.
Interesting to see I formation there, Spencer, and going quarterback sneak, but huge pickup there. You don't usually see the quarterback sneak go for that many yards, but I guess that's why they ran out to the line of scrimmage, try to catch them off guard and get a big pickup there. So now you got first and goal from the 1-yard line. Really just take care of the football here. They're back in the I formation. I'd see Eli Black up the middle again.
First and goal, trying to go through, and there it is, right on cue, Coach. Touchdown for the Lightning, Eli Black up the middle.
Lightning touchdown.
Now this goes without saying, but Spencer, this is huge. We got a flag on the play.
Now
and it looks like it's going to be against the Cowboys.
Is this one of those after the play, or was there something at the line? We'll hear it from Nate Starr in a moment. Here at Mike Gavlak Stadium at Arnold High School, Panama City Beach, Florida. Last 2 years, national championship has been inland at Vernon High School. First time that this national championship in the most recent years has been here still been within the Panama City limits with Pete Edwards Field years ago. But
if this touchdown stands and they can get a 2-point, that'll make this a 2-possession game, which the way this game has gone could be a big break for Evangel.
Long discussion here from the officials, but I believe we have the call coming in a moment. Well, Nate Starr is going to confirm with the Lightning.
It must have been after the play. He's asking if he wants it on the conversion or on the kickoff.
Good. Dead ball, personal, Cowboys. Lightning have assessed the penalty on the kickoff.
Yeah, you're right, so the touchdown will stand.
Touchdown, good.
You know, that's an interesting call from Coach Smith there. I probably would have taken half the distance, even though it's only 1.5 yards, just knowing how massive this play call is. This could potentially stretch it to a 2-possession game. Got Twins to the left side, Griffith in the backfield.
Trying to make it a 10-point contest. Black scramble. Gets the dump-off pass, trying to go for the goal line. One cut easy for Cruz Romano.
And that was not a part of that play call, Spencer. That tight end was backside. They took away the out route to Ben Davis and just heads-up play by Eli and Cruz Romano. Hey, Coach Smith knows what he's doing. That's why, again, he's down there coaching. I'm up here with you guys because he makes the tough calls and knows how to make it work.
Evangel Christian Lightning 36.
36-26. Evangel leading by 10. Just over 11 left to go in the game. You mentioned it, Coach, a 10-point game. First time it's been a two-possession game here in this national championship. And the Evangel Lightning have the advantage, and they also had a personal foul tacked on where they'll kick it from the 45 of the Cowboys. And this onside kick attempt will be picked up, swallowed up there by Eli Carr. Last time the Evangel Lightning have held a 2-score lead on the season, it was just last week, 7 days ago in the ACSC title game against East Central. Managed to pull out that victory there, and I know they don't officially say it, but for all intents and purposes, clinch their berth in the D1 bracket here in the NHFA. They were already set to come down here, but conference championships helping determine who was going where, and managed to get the victory actually 8 days ago, with this being Saturday. Played their game on Friday night.
Got two receivers out wide here, running back in the backfield. No H-back. That's different for Freedom.
How do the Freedom Cowboys respond? They'll start with Venter running the ball. He'll get it just past the 30. And we mentioned it earlier, such a long and strenuous journey for the young man on trying to get back on the football field in the last several games, having worrying about his ankle injury and his surgery. And Coach Collins told us ahead of their conference championship game last week that when he broke out for a 60-plus yard touchdown against Riverside, he was in tears because of how emotional the buildup was for him to make his return in his senior year. As he'll keep it again himself, and that might be the answer for the Freedom Cowboys as he gets another first down, is to lean on the senior who's worked so hard to get back to this point.
Yeah, he's shown you that he really wants to be. He's shown you the type of leader he is. I would put the ball in his hands, let him carry you, see if he can. He's been so explosive tonight. I just would give him as many opportunities for that explosive run as possible.
Yeah, all 14 seniors trying to get that opportunity, but the other factor you have to worry about, the clock continues to run. And wonder when they'll try to break out for any pass plays or try to find some stops for the clock here, but they do have a new set of downs. And Venter this time will let it off, trying to get Sterling Hershey going, and he gets stopped for forward progress at the line of scrimmage. That's another great tackle by Caleb Woods, who has been all over the place on the defensive side for Evangel tonight.
Yeah, Caleb Woods is kind of an unsung hero on this defense. Their backers do so well. Cruz does so great all over the defense. You got the two DBs that really do a great job of covering everything downfield, but Woods in the middle is the one who cleans everything up. You saw that. Venter the ball carrier tried to cut back in, and he was right there to clean it up. Never stopped pursuing, never stopped fighting, and he was there for the tackle right at the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 10. Venter again on the keeper. He's not going to get through that defensive line, and I know that the Cowboys usually can trust Venter to be able to break out in space, but this defensive line for Evangel has really stood strong throughout the game.
Yeah, I think the big difference this second half is something called Clay Romano. Coach Romano is the defensive coordinator for Evangel, and I've never seen someone be able to do something an entire game. Coach Romano is always going to make the adjustment. Coach Romano is always going to have his guys in position. So, it'll be interesting to see what the next thing for Freedom is. I think Coach Romano has said, you may beat me, but it will not be with Jalen Venter running the football. Now, Coach Collins may say, Jalen Venture's good enough to do it, so we'll see how they go the rest of the game. You got the H-back in the backfield, one receiver out wide. Oh, they're going to – play clock's got to be running down.
Gain of 1 on there to make it a 3rd and 9. Venter will air it out, intended for Butler, overthrew his intended target.
You're going to get a defensive holding there.
Yeah, they do get a flag. Looks like a lucky break here for the Freedom Cowboys if this is on the defense.
Yeah, you had a double move there by Butler. Well-ran route, just threw it a little bit far down the field.
Here's Nate Starr.
Defensive pass interference, Lightning, 15 yards, first down for the yardage.
So maybe not an overthrow on that play. It was an interference that prevented Butler from even attempting the catch.
Well, it's worth noting NFHS rules, there is no such thing as an uncatchable ball. And so it does not matter how much of an overthrow or not that was. The fact that he was interfered with is how you get that flag. A lot of people think, oh, it's uncatchable, it's uncatchable. Not in NFHS. That's the rules we play by. So it doesn't matter if he's 30 yards away from it. If he got interfered with, he got interfered with.
An excellent point. And it gives the Cowboys new set of downs in Evangel territory. And Venter will go for the pass on the right side, and it's almost picked off by Ben Davis. Would have been his 2nd interception on the game.
Great job there, making it look like a run, then last second throwing it out there. And then great job by Ben Davis to stay at home, not cheat up. I mean, with the damage that Venter's done to you all night, I would think it'd be, second nature to run up on there and try to help your front 5. But he does a great job staying at home and breaking up that pass.
They've thrown to Briggs Brady at least twice trying to get him going on the receiving end, but just hasn't quite gotten there yet on the connection with Jalen Venter.
Venter alone in the backfield with the H-back and one receiver. He's going to bring the receiver in motion.
There's Hershey again that he has in motion. He'll keep it. And there's just, again, it's so hard for him to get through. Eli Black has Jalen Venter's number.
No gain on the play.
Eli has really came to play this second half. You see they're running that same counter that Evangel does out of a different, look, but same thing. And there's Eli. Before it can get started, he gets through untouched, hits Venter low. Trey Hope's back there to help clean it up, and there's a tackle for loss on 2nd down. Big 3rd down play here, 2 receivers, 1 running back. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to Butler here, or 16 on a wheel route. Maybe try to get Cruz caught up in. There's the out and up.
Yep, Venter hit as he threw it, and going out intended for Martinet. It's incomplete. And they won't get the benefit of a roughing the passer call there, as it's now a 4th and 11. And now what do you do if you're Coach Collins?
Yeah, with 7 minutes left, so Freedom just takes their 2nd time out of the half.
To a 4th down and a long 10 yards to go.
Cowboys. That's their 2nd.
And it's one of those tough moments. You now have only 1 timeout left for the Cowboys with time dwindling down. 7:08 left to go in the game here in Florida. One timeout left for the Freedom Cowboys here in the game. It's a 10-point lead for Evangel, and this a big one on 4th and 11. Venter, he's going to look for the pass. Dumped it off across the middle. It's picked off. It's picked off by the Lightning, and going down the sideline is Trey Hope, and that is the last thing the Cowboys wanted. Right, the 5, the Lightning almost with a pick 6, and Trey Hope has his first interception of the season.
Great job. We see the crossing route. They're trying to get a guy open. He really throws it a little early. There was a lot of traffic in there when he threw that football. Bobbled. You know, Trey Hope wasn't the primary defender there. His guy had pulled him in on the crossing route. He's very aware, sees the bobble, pulls it out of the air, returns it down to the 4-yard line, and puts Evangel in great field position.
Gives the Lightning a first and goal.
It's one thing if you have a turnover on downs on an incompletion. It's one thing if you even get a couple of yards up, but it's still a turnover deeper in Evangel's territory. But now, knocking on the door of another touchdown here, the Lightning have a chance to put this game away, especially with only one stoppage available to the opposition.
Back in the I formation. Watch the quarterback lead here, or quarterback sneak, I should say.
Black hands it off, trying to go up the middle. Griffith again, and he gets stuffed. So the defensive line trying to do their part here, coordinated by Jacob Kinney.
So, of course, Evangel wants to score here, but I think this is almost one of those situations, Spencer, where you say, I do not want to score until 4th down. Maybe 3rd to be safe, but I could see them wanting to milk this clock down, milk the play clock down as low as they can, get this game under 4 minutes. Freedom with their one timeout in under 4 minutes and have to make them score twice. And really, you're not in the worst position if you turn over on downs inside your own 5, and it's still a 2-possession game. Obviously, they want to score. Obviously, the game's about who can put the most points on the board, but I think you've got to be careful not to be, not to put yourself in a bad situation. Going back to Twins, Griffith in the backfield.
Black sending Davis again in motion. He'll keep it and untouched into the end zone. Another touchdown for Evangel.
For a Lightning touchdown.
Got a Lightning player down in the end zone. You see both of these teams battling. They've got to be exhausted at this point. A lot of these guys are playing both ways, and the exhaustion has to be setting in the last 6 minutes of this game.
16-point game right now, so we've been saying it all game about these 2-point conversion attempts being crucial. This late in the game, this is the crucial one here for the Cowboys.
Absolutely. This makes it a 3-possession game. 3 possessions in 6 minutes. If you can get this 2-point conversion, that'll put a lot of pressure on them to score fast. Going with the counter.
Black. He's in. 18-point lead.
Into the end zone.
Spencer, we've talked about it. That counter has been the bread and butter of the Evangel Lightning all year. It is fitting that on a 2-point conversion that important, Coach Smith pulls out that counter, and it worked perfectly.
18-point lead. The Lightning trying to put the finishing touches to win their 8th national championship in the last 9. Well, an 18-point lead now for the Evangel Lightning. 5:59 remaining in this national championship. And this is uncharacteristic for the Freedom Cowboys in the majority of the contest and how it's gone down, as this will head for a bounce at about the 16-yard line and will be a free kick out of bounds. But we know the Freedom Cowboys can score quick. At least they have throughout the first half. But we'll hear from Nate
Free
Starr.
kick out of bounds. Lightning. Cowboys elected to take the ball to the 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
But the Freedom Cowboys were able to score so quickly through the start of the first half, and you wonder how they get back to that, especially with under 6 left.
Yeah, and really at this point, you've got to score 3 touchdowns in 6 minutes. I think you're going to see Freedom start to press a little bit. I think they're going to get outside their comfort zone, which it will be throwing the ball downfield with Jalen Venter. They're not going to go completely away from him running it, but Clay Romano and Eli Black have taken away that run game in the second half, so it will be interesting to see how they answer here.
from the 35-yard line. One of the last gasps here for Freedom. Venter keeping himself up the middle. Can the senior get past the other tackle? Tried to spin around a couple of times. Forced down by Cruz Romano, but not before he gets a first down. Which it does stop the clock to set the chains. And Cowboys likely need to have some sense of urgency here as it's down to 5:42.
Yeah, and we've seen that play a lot. One thing Coach Collins has done a lot in the past is he'll go back to his successful plays just on the opposite side. So don't be surprised to see that same fake toss with Venter going up the middle on this play as well.
Venter again trying to push through and stopped after a gain of a chunk of yards, say about 3 to 4.
Down by number 42.
That's one of those places where the familiarity with each other really comes into play. If I knew that, Coach Smith and Coach Romano knew that. Generally with Freedom, if they have a successful play one way, they flip the formation, say stop me if you can, and a lot of times you can't stop it. So right there you saw Evangel was ready for that play. Same formation here. Well, correction, they've got a running back in the backfield now, no H-back.
2nd and 6. We're now under the 5-minute mark in this national championship game. Venter
Drops back.
will air it out. He's got an option, and it's intercepted. Another pick by this Evangel defense, and it's picked off by Ben Davis for interception number 2 in the evening.
The interception.
I said it earlier, Spencer, on the break, but I'll say it on air now. To me, I think this is probably the best secondary that Freedom's seen, and I think that's showing here.
34-yard line, 1st and 10.
Two interceptions on the night for Ben Davis. Total of 3 from this Evangel secondary. 4 total turnovers, one of those being a fumble recovery.
Spencer, correct me if I'm wrong here, just, looking ahead a little bit. If Evangel holds on to win this game, that would be an ACSC sweep of the national championship, correct? Because Southern Christian, East Central, and then Evangel, that would be an ACSC sweep. Am I right there?
Yeah.
Way to represent, man. Way to represent.
Yeah, don't tell that to C Commissioner James Shannon. He's especially with this being this Southeastern Extreme Conference champions here. Though, regardless, always roots for a good game, just like the rest of us here on the 8-man Extreme crew.
Got twins. I wouldn't be surprised with Griffith. Back to Black.
As there's Elijah Black again going to about the 42-yard line on the carry, and this is probably the strategy for the Lightning the rest of the game to just continue to run out of the clock. And we mentioned the roster different size too, about how Evangel usually has around 35+ guys and other teams are under that number. Yeah, we talked about the difference on that, where the total roster was a comparison of 53 to 28, but several players not here for both sides because of illness and other challenges going on. And really, this looks like the Evangel we've seen over pretty much the last decade. It doesn't look any different.
Right, and that's credit to Coach Smith and then his quarterback, man. We were talking about all the great quarterbacks at Evangel.
As Black carries it up the middle with a good projection and gets off for a first down at about the 47.
But you were talking about all the greats, and there have been Tyler Henderson, Eli Whitfield, Kemp Swords, Jet played some. And I told Coach Smith, privately, I said, hey, Eli Black's the best you've had. Eli Black is the best he's had, in my opinion. And I think he's showing you that tonight. Depleted roster, missing 3 or 4 starters. Everything, he had stomach bug earlier today. Wasn't even sure that he was going to be able to go. Comes out, plays his heart out, and, 3 minutes away from a national championship.
And our biggest clarification on that is no disrespect meant to the other quarterbacks that have come through the Evangel system. It's just showing the greatness of Eli Black. And on cue, he does recover a missnap there. Almost lost the football there, but gets it back to the 40-yard line.
At the 40-yard line.
Under 3 left to go here. And both coaches also said they wanted another crack at each other. You think that 38-8 victory for the Freedom Cowboys, they managed to get revenge in a way on the Lightning and get another victory against them in the chess match between Collins and Smith. And it's just when you get to the national stage,
Tim Smith and a lot of these players as well, when they started through the middle school ranks and up, there are a lot of people they look towards for the national championship.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Spencer. You got Twins back to the near sideline.
And we got whistles.
Delay a game, Lightning, 5-yard penalty, second down.
And you look on the other side as well with the Freedom Cowboys. We talked about this is one of the best seasons they've had in a while at the 10-3 record heading into this weekend. They're pretty much been 500 in the NHFA and winning against the team they faced off in the conference championship for actually 3 straight years in the Tennessee Heat, the first round. And this is a carry out to the left side, a good run by Ben Davis, who will get short of where they started. But you also think about this is a Freedom team that beat South Haven, who had to be forced to overtime against their opponent here on the field in the semi 2 days ago. So the Freedom Cowboys, the score is not going to be reflective of the effort and the quality that we've seen from team out of Huntsville, Alabama. They have competed with teams that have also made it to the national stage.
Absolutely, and you know, maybe a little biased here for me, but it's just different in the state of Alabama, right? And Freedom hails from the state of Alabama. Evangel, you know, those have been the 2 powerhouses in the state consistently for as long as I've been around 8-man football.
And one could also argue that semi a couple of days ago between South Haven and Evangel. This gets popped forward and carry for Trey Hope. And Trey Hope will wrap it up as he goes out of bounds to get up for the first down. And one could argue that semi between those two was the national championship a couple of days ago, or felt like it because of how close it was going. And the last time that Evangel was forced to an overtime game here in Florida was 2019 against Ezel Harding, and just a complete effort from this Evangel team, even though so many people keep claiming they have a down year with the last 2 years graduating 17 seniors in each season. Still, there's not really a down year for the Evangel Lightning.
No, and I talked with Coach Smith about that. I laughed after the championship game. I talked to him. I said, "Your down year looks a lot different than everyone else's.
Yes.
You're winning the conference championship. Spencer, this looks like it's going to be the best formation in football, and kneel down."
And they'll have to do it just one more time once it gets below the 40-second mark, and that should wrap things up here as the Lightning will put a bow on it. And again, Freedom Cowboys, tremendous effort from them, had several injuries, a couple of stomach bugs that they had to fight through, and I believe, okay, we have a whistle there from the official. The clock did stop, so maybe seniors last in.
Timeout, Cowboys.
Freedom's going to
That's
make them
their last
snap
charge
it,
timeout.
you know, as many times as possible.
Yep. Yeah, but you also think this happened last week in the Seeks championship game where Christian Community used their final timeout, let their seniors come on the field for last time. This is the last game for these total of 14 seniors for the Freedom Cowboys. So, and East Central Southampton did it as well in their previous games, or within the games throughout the day in the championship. So one of those great gestures you get to see in high school football.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Did you guys do that plenty of times throughout your coaching career?
At certain times when the situation allowed for it, we did it some. This year, you know, our seniors, our last game was kind of a battle. So after we shook hands, we let those guys walk over to the sideline first, kind of gave them a standing ovation that way. But you really prefer to do it in the game. But it looks like Venter, it looks like several of the seniors are still out there. So I think you just want them to snap it again.
Can't put all 14 in, obviously.
Right.
There's a chance to rotate in between as this Evangel Lightning team overcoming so much.
Coach Smith's letting a senior take the last snaps there in Trey Hope. Eli Black's out of the game.
Yeah, they're dunking him. They didn't get him fully. They got some water on top there for Tim Smith. And with one more snap set to go here in Panama City.
Spencer, I've got to sneak this in. The reason Eli Black is the best quarterback of the group, if you ask Coach Smith, is because he's the only one that was, you know, Coach Smith's quarterback and not Hagen's.
Well, if you want to win in Florida, you can't do it if you face off against the best dynasty in high school 8-man football. The Evangel Lightning, 8 national championships in the last 9 seasons. No
one better.
What a game. What a game. That back and forth in the beginning, made some adjustments, and just a great season for both teams. Freedom did an excellent job this year, and Evangel always seems to find a way and came out on top. And I believe that keeps them undefeated here in the national championship, at least in my time in 8-man football.
That makes them 13-0 here in Florida since in the NHFA since they started in 2018 on the mountain in Dayton. We'll be back in a few moments. Prize presentations coming up here from Panama City. Don't go anywhere.
Thanking them for their impact.
25 NHFA National Championship post-game show. We do have some hardware to hand out, but before we get to that, last year in December, we lost the creator of the NHFA, NHSA, Hank St. Dennis. He was able to watch last year's tournament from afar, and he's, of course, succeeded by Mike St. Dennis. So first and foremost, we have to give a round of applause to Mike St. Dennis, the NHFA, all the hardworking men and women that have pulled off the biggest 8-man football tournament in the program history, with 12 teams and one game still going on at Publix Park right now. So congratulations, and you leave behind, you continue a great legacy with your father, and we know he loved the 8-man football scene and this tournament. So, all right, well, ladies and gentlemen, this was an incredible game, an incredible competition, and we want to give the utmost respect and congratulations to the runner-up for this year's national championship for high school 8-man football, the Freedom Cowboys. Congratulations again. And now, your most valuable player for this year's national championship, one of the greatest stars for the Evangel Lightning, Eli Black. And now, for the 8th time in the last 9 seasons, no dynasty better in high school 8-man football, your national champions for 2025, the Evangel Christian School Lightning. As the players rightfully celebrate with the trophy, maybe we'll hear from Eli Black in a second, but you just said, Coach, they're headed back to Alabaster. You know, last year you guys were not in the tournament by choice, and you even mentioned at ACSC Media Day earlier this season that it was a down year. This is 2 years in a row that you've graduated 17 seniors, but it doesn't seem like a down year for the Lightning. Did it seem like that to you as the season went on?
Well, as the season went on, they got better. They got older. This year we've got 7 seniors. We start a lot of sophomores and juniors. At number 9 is just a junior. He'll be back. So they got better as the year went on. When we was 1-3 and left for dead, somebody didn't check for a pulse.
And I love how talking in media days and also talking with Coach Collins in that this is a rivalry that has been going on for years. And even at halftime where it was tied, this was a battle and you knew it. So what did you tell the guys at halftime to get through this win?
Yeah, we knew before we ever got here, if it was us in Freedom like it's been, I think, 3 times now, that it's going to go all the way down to the 4th quarter. They're so well coached. They're good athletes. We knew they were going to get after us, and I think they knew we were going to get after them. And we knew one more thing. That trophy was going back to Alabama one more time.
And now that don't tell them the score of the Oklahoma game, that's for sure. But this was a tremendous win. And how about this young man, especially as someone who, come on over here, Eli Black.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
So most people don't know this. He was in the bed all day. And he just gutted it out. So we're proud of him and what he did. And we wasn't going to play him on defense. He missed the first years and never came off the field.
Well, congratulations, Coach. Eli, I know that most players look at this most valuable player trophy and think this is about the team effort and this is about the team. But to think for you to push through sickness issues and to get through to this point, what does this trophy mean to you?
Well, first of all, I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about those fans right there and all my brothers for praying for me when I was sick and making sure I was healthy for this game. I thank God every day that I get to come out here and play the sport that we all love.
course, this being your junior year, you have one more year with the Lightning, and a special moment there with your coach. What has Tim Smith meant to you in your development this year?
He's always pushed me to be better. He yells at me a lot, which is a good thing. And I love him. And I couldn't ask for a better coach.
Now we know Coach Smith has a tradition of a Dr. Pepper and oatmeal cream pie. How many are on standby for you guys?
A whole lot.
Well, congratulations. Your national champions for 2025, the Evangel Christian School Lightning.